Just get yourself settled. So we're going to alternate between these two parts of the paradox of spiritual practice. We're going to alternate between the doing and the total acceptance, between the having a goal and solving our problems and the letting go of our problems and our goals. So we'll just start, as I often ask you to, just really accept where you are as you start this practice. And we'll make that a little goal. We're going to have the goal of accepting where we are as we start this practice. So it's an activity we can do. We can give the mind something to do. It's like, what I want you to do, mind, is check out all the parts of this present moment and just acknowledge it. And don't try to change it. And accept the way it is. Part of our practice that where we are, where we start is always a perfect place to start our practice. I'll often sit down and go, oh, my mind is too busy or my emotions feel too, nope, that's the perfect place. That's the perfect place to start this practice. No, my neighbor's drumming. Perfect place to start the practice. So we're doing this activity, we're sort of surveying our senses, visual, feeling, and auditory. My body might be uncomfortable. There might be noise in my environment. Okay, this is the perfect place to start my practice. I often like to think it's almost like you have the New York Times crossword puzzle app and you just open it up for the day. And it's a different shape and it's got different words and it's got different clues, but it was designed perfectly to be a puzzle for today. And so when you sit down to sit, whatever you've got going on right now, whatever's going on in the environment, whatever's going on in your body, however your mind feels, that is the perfect arrangement for your meditation for today. There is no way the present moment could be that would mean it's not a good way for the sit to begin. If you want to go deeper with that, you can, and this is all narrative, which is just a useful way to get us into acceptance. We're giving something to the mind to hold on to. Imagine that the universe or God or whatever you want has actually arranged things so that right now you'll be feeling, thinking, hearing, seeing, feeling the exact things that you need to be feeling, hearing, thinking, feeling. So you see, I'm giving the mind a real project. The project is this present moment. And going here, somewhere in here, in all of this is the answer. And that is true. It's not even a lie. Somewhere in this moment is the answer to all your spiritual longing. In fact, to all your human longing. And don't get frustrated. You might not see it right away. But the first step is accepting that this is where I am. And these are the tools I need. Including that part of your mind that's like, I don't want this or I don't like that. That too is part of the perfect puzzle of the moment. But you have to notice it and acknowledge it. That part of you that's still evaluating what's good or bad in the present moment. That's okay, but that's part of the present moment that's worth accepting. Okay, now maybe the mind is like, well, where do I look? Where's the answer? What do I do next? Well, you just have to acknowledge the puzzle. And just like with a crossword puzzle, you need to start on the first, you need to start somewhere. And they will start with the breath. If the breath really doesn't work for you, start with another sensory experience, something that's present in your present moment sensory world. So we've accepted and acknowledged the whole puzzle of the present moment. And now we're moving our attention in to just one little part of it. The amazing thing about this puzzle is that the answer to the whole puzzle is in any part of the puzzle. All you have to do is look at one part of it fully, clearly. And so we'll start with the breath. And I really invite you to allow the energy of desire, whatever is left for you. Some of us are further along this path than others. There might not be as much, but for most of us, there's still a desire. What is the desire? What is the spiritual desire? Why are you here? When Nadine brought up, the hope that this would be a solution for something. That's an example. Allow that to channel into focusing in on the breath. This is the way. By focusing on the breath, this is the way to my desire. This is the way to enlightenment. This is the way to freedom from suffering. This is the way to solve all my problems. This is the way to money, if that's why you're here. Whatever it is, focusing in on your breath and really feeling it the way it is right now is the pathway through to wherever you're trying to get. So we're allowing the energy of problem solving and goal-oriented energy that's in our body all the time, we're channeling it in to the goal of feeling our breath in this present moment. All your ambition, your hopes, your fears, all of that desire energy, we're channeling it into in, out. If I could just feel perfectly one whole breath without judging it or thinking about it or interfering with it, without trying to make it happen, just perfectly experience the reality of the sensory experience of one full breath. And when we have goals, we start to get frustrated. So we just allow that to arise as part of our environment, part of our puzzle. We just notice that it's not that easy to be fully present to one whole breath, not for most of us. And so we just keep coming back. That in fact, part of the practice of becoming fully present for one whole breath is the letting go of the goal of being present for one whole breath. The only way we will ever fully be present for one whole breath is if we're no longer trying to be present for one whole breath. So can we just sit with our breath without? Can we allow the goal to be present with our breath to drive us into the energy of sitting with our breath without goals? We're sitting on the bedside of somebody who's dying, and there's nothing for us to do. And that person has made it clear to us all they really want is our presence. They don't want us to wipe their hair or hold their hand or get the nurse. All they want us to do is be there with them. How fully can you be there with your breath? Totally normal that you start thinking about what you're going to do next tomorrow, or how sad this is, or how hard this is, or but just remind yourself, oh, all that's requested of me is that I be here. That's all that's requested. In fact, anything else I do gets in the way of just being here. So we are fully embracing the paradox of spiritual practice here. And it can clarify what the obstacles are. If you're too much in the goal part, then you start judging your distractions. You start judging the fact that you're not perfectly there. You start getting an emotional reaction to the fact that you can't stay still or that your mind is distracted. If you just try to forcefully let go of the goal part, you'll just find yourself lost in your mind. So you have to thread the needle. But it's a needle you can't thread. You have to surrender. And the second you surrender, you are threading it perfectly, even if it doesn't feel like it. In this moment, we're trying to be with the breath. It breathes in, it breathes out. It has a sort of infinite amount of detail in the feeling of it and maybe the sound of it. And ultimately, the breath is perfect. There is no right way it's supposed to be. We're not trying to control it. Allow it to leave when it wants to, allow it to come in when it wants to, allow it to pause when it wants to, allow it to be ragged or smooth. This is the perfect breath for right now. This is the perfect breath for right now. To see the perfection of it, you have to not interfere with it. If your concentration is amazing, then maybe you are just with the breath. But for most of us, there's a lot of other things going on in this practice. And all I want to remind you is that those things are perfect too. The distraction you're having is the perfect distraction for right now. You do not need to interfere with it. The emotion you're having is the perfect emotion to be having right now. You do not need to interfere with it. Your life is a process. It is not an end goal. It is not a thing. It's a symphony, and each note has to happen where it happens. Every feeling you're having right now is the perfect note in the symphony of your life. Can you not interfere with it, including your own judgment of yourself that it's not perfect, including your own hopes that this moment would be better, including your fears that it's not good enough? Those are also perfect elements of this present moment. Can you not interfere with them? Can you find a way of being with all of it? Your true awakening will come often when the most human experience, the most human thoughts, the most human feelings you're having become perfectly okay. We often think that what's going to happen is we're going to go on this path and reach these states, and then a higher state, and then a higher state, and then a higher state. But the true final awakenings are the full acceptance of the mundanity of being a human being, of all the things you used to judge. Being like, I'm a confused human being who judges themselves, doesn't know exactly what to do next, has a lot of pain and is scared, really loves some things and is tempted by other things. That's all part of the perfection of this moment. Of this breath. Okay, so we'll do this a little differently today. If you're sitting and you're where you need to be, just stay there. You can stay there through the question and answer, because there's no thing that is a distraction, right? Everything is perfect. And you can keep sitting, or you can engage from that same place. But we're going to stop the formal sit now. And if you want to open your eyes or move your body, then this is the time to do that.